All right. So then by 1993, you're 22 years old. You're going to join the Greenville County Sheriff's Office.
Yes.
So now you're a cop.
Yes.
And you start working narcotics.
Yeah, I was a uniform patrol for 3 years, so I'm out doing the beats and hopping calls and car stops and all that good stuff. And then I made Vice narcotics investigator. So Vice in the mid 90s in Greenville County, South Carolina, that would be, of course, prostitution, but gambling was illegal too. So we had that, and then we'd work narcotics.
Okay. And you actually started doing buys on the street and so forth?
Yes, yeah. I can't remember if I got certified first because it's a little different. I mean, you're at the sheriff's office, but you do go to the Criminal Justice Academy, which is located in Columbia, South Carolina, back then. And you take the 1-week course, Undercover Techniques. And I got certified in that. And then, I started doing street level buys and stuff like that. And as far as Vice goes, if you get complaints about prostitution, maybe we get a complaint that there's a 2-girl crew that's robbing everybody. Well, we try to order up that 2-girl crew to figure out who it is and bust them. But I started buying dope and stuff like that on the street.
Okay. So those first couple buys, how nervous were you? I mean, you're basically buying drugs, pretending to be a drug addict or a casual user, but you're going to bust this person afterwards.
Yeah. Well, so street level, at least what I did, is way faster. I mean, it's very fast, right? Maybe we go make a couple of buys, or maybe it's a high drug trafficking area and we're rolling in and we're trying to make a buy, but now we got to identify who we bought from, kind of thing, just to try to thwart the sales on that corner. But yeah, man, I was terrified. I mean, I was probably 260, 270 pounds, and I'm rolling down on the corner to buy a crack rock. I don't look like I smoke crack, man. I mean, you can put some baggy clothes
crack
on.
User.
Yeah, and unless I just started or I fell off the wagon. Yeah. So I was scared on 2 fronts. Number one, because I had no idea what I was doing. Number two, because I knew all the senior narcotics investigators were watching me, and it's a tough crowd, And I was like, oh, don't screw this up. But they were like, I said, I don't even know what to do. They said, man, just roll down, pull up to the corner. They're going to run up to your window and just tell them you want a 20. That's it. Because crack was big then, and crack's coming back. That's what I hear. Making a comeback.
It's better than fentanyl.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. I rolled down there, and because a crack rock at that point in time was about $20. And I rolled down to the corner, and they come running up, the corner drug dealers, and they're like, what do you want? What do you want? And I'm like, probably my voice was very high, probably like a 20, I want a 20. And then he's like, all right, man. And I bet you I cracked the window that far. It's like I was sticking the $20 bill into the vending machine. You know what I mean? And then I think he yelled at me to roll down the window so he could actually hand me the rock. It was probably soap. Who knows? I'm a 270-pound white guy trying to buy crack. He probably gave me soap. But it's, as long as you're representing it, at least in South Carolina, if you're representing it as crack cocaine, you can still charge him with that. Yeah. That was my first drug buy as an undercover. Now, when I was a teenager and stuff, weed, I'd go buy weed and stuff like that, but I'd never bought crack.
Well, you're part of the sheriff's office, but at one point you decided to join the FBI.
Yes. Really back then, I do not remember thinking that I wanted to be a federal agent, but until later in my career at the sheriff's office. But what you kind of start looking at, or a lot of my peers were looking at, is where are you going to be in 5 years pay scale wise? Because a lot of your counties, the county council will give themselves raises every year, but they won't give raises to the cops or the first responders. They'll raise the starting pay rate. So it's very, it's sad, but it's almost comical that you could work your entire limit of, say it's 30 years. You're never going to reach your maximum because you're not getting the raises. But they raise the starting pay, so at some point, you could, if you got a 4-year degree, you could quit, come back in, and make just as much money or maybe a little bit more.
Wow.
So you're getting trained by a 2-striper, a 3-striper, and they're letting you know they're not happy that you're making as much money as them. So I started looking at where would you be in 5 years, and through the experience of being a narcotics officer, I learned more about the FBI from my supervisor at the time, and I applied with the FBI because in 5 years in the FBI, as long as you don't get fired, which pretty much just don't lie, At least that's the way it used to be. You know, if you lie, then you're done. But you can do all kinds of horrific stuff, and then they'll be like, all right, 30 days on the bricks, but in mitigation, you told the truth kind of thing. You were going through a hard time. But in 5 years, you're GS-13. So you're making good money. And I applied with them first because I heard it was harder to get hired by the FBI. And that's where I started. And I never got to fill out another application. It took probably a year because it's a phase one. And then you got you got your psychologicals, you've got your physical fitness, you've got your lie detectors. And that was the most thorough polygraph examination I'd ever had. I'd done 4 before applying to different police departments, but that one for the FBI, I think I was in the chair for like 3.5 hours.
It's like, what were they asking you? What were the toughest questions?
So I don't know if they were tough. It's just that you're sitting there and it's like, my nose never itches. But they got this strap around your belly. They got stuff on you, reading you everything, and they've got even a pad under your butt to tell if you're flinching, all this stuff.
Okay.
And then they go, okay, you ready to start? And you go, yeah, okay, don't move. As soon as they say that, man, my nose is like, I'm like, why's my nose itching? So I'm nervous. I'm not lying, but I'm nervous about screwing up the test. So one of the things they ask, because if you've ever done a polygraph, or for those who haven't, usually a lot of people break in the questions preparing you before you even start the machine because they're getting thorough. So we get to the point to where the guy's like, this is during that questioning phase. The polygrapher for the FBI in Columbia, South Carolina, he's got me in there and he's like, have you done any illegal narcotics in the last 10 years? At this point, I'm a narcotics investigator. I mean, I'm working vice and narcotics. He says, have you done any illegal narcotics in the last 10 years? And I said, no. So let's say this is like 97, leading up to 98 when I get hired, somewhere in there. I said, no. I said, it'd be close. I said, at the 10-year mark, I said, I did do Dianabol. I said, but it was 10 cc's and I stretched it over 8 weeks. I said, I didn't know what I was doing. That's not enough to make my basset hound any bigger, you know? And they go, no, that's cool. Next question. Have you used marijuana in the last 3 years? Again, this is 97. This isn't now. And I'm like, a narcotics investigator. I'm like, is that a trick question? He goes, no. I said, you just asked me, have I done any illegal narcotics in the last 10 years? I go, marijuana is an illegal narcotic. So the answer is no. And he's like, oh, well, you could have smoked marijuana up until 3 years ago. And I said, okay, still an illegal narcotic. And my answer is no. He says, then they start diving deep. Now, I've had these questions on other polygraph examinations, but it's like, have you ever smoked weed? Yeah, tons of it, you know? It was the 80s. I was in high school. Cheech and Chong weed, not the stuff that's out there now, you know? They tell me that's 5% THC. I'm like, I don't know. It was pretty good. So I thought then. But he says, have you used it in the last 3 years? I said, no. He said, have you ever used it? I said, yeah. Well, they start diving deep, Vlad. They start going into all these, like, have you rolled it? Have you smoked it? Did you give it to somebody? Did you buy it? Did you go to buy it? Did you ever sell it to anybody? And I'm like, bro, I said, I can answer all your questions with one thing. I said, we would be at a party. Somebody would say, I'm going to get weed. You'd put your money in the kitty. Somebody would get enough money to go buy weed and come back. I said, we would smoke what we could at the party. And then whoever kept it, kept it. I said, one time I kept it and I brought it home. I said, I didn't sleep all night because no matter where I hit it, it was like Edgar Allan Poe, The Telltale Heart, right? Ever I'd hit it, I'd be lying in the bed and I'd go, my mom's going to find it there. I'd get up and I'd go move it. I'd go back to sleep. I go, my mom's going to find it there. So I never brought it home again. So then he gets to this point. He says, well, how many times would you say you smoked it? And I'm like, man, who knows? It was the 80s, high school. You know, he's like, and maybe a little bit of college. And he's like, he goes, would you say no more than 15? And I said, yeah, 15 sounds good. He came up on the table and slammed it. Bam! You think this is a joke? You think I'm joking? And now I'm panicking because in my head I'm going 15 nights, 15 pounds, 15 joints. I don't know, man. So I was like, yeah, 15 sounds good. But I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, what elected official's kid or relative had to get a job with the FBI that smoked dope within the last, just at the 3-year mark, but no more than 15 times? Because how else do you come up with those numbers? So yeah, that was pretty comical. Yeah. I thought I was going to fail that question, but apparently I passed.
Okay, so now you're an FBI agent, but not every FBI agent is undercover.
Correct.
It's a whole different program. Really, what was the reason to go undercover?
I already had the bug. For me, when I started working undercover at the sheriff's office, that bug got me. I loved it. I love the concept of it. I'm a people person. I love connecting with people. And, I could have easily been a lot of the people that I've arrested. I committed plenty of crimes. I never got charged and convicted. Else I wouldn't have been able to be an FBI agent. But I just love that whole kind of infiltration thing. And some of my mentors at the sheriff's office, they had done undercover, and even at a deep undercover level. And yeah, man, that bug had me. So when I got in the FBI, I'd already been doing it. But in the FBI, the only thing you're required to be, if you come in as an agent, is to be a case agent. That's it. Things got a little murky under Mueller and stuff, but the bottom line is you have to be a case agent first. SWAT, firearms instructor, tactical instructor, defensive tactics instructor, undercover, those are even relief supervisor. It's all collateral duties. They're all voluntary. But my first office that I got was New York City. So it's not that I was in a hurry to get out of New York City, but I was already kind of looking, and I was looking at canvases that were being posted for undercovers, and I put in for one even before I was certified, and I got picked to do that.
Okay, so there's an undercover school.
Yes.
And there's 20 slots.
Yep.
With 20 backups in case anyone drops out.
Yes.
And Joe Pistone, aka Donnie Brasco, was actually spoke at your academy.
He taught. Yeah, he taught.
He taught on this.
Taught, spoke, and role played. Yes.
Right. And Joe Pistone was actually one of the original 25 FBI agents ever.
Correct. Yeah. The 1972, J. Edgar Hoover did not believe in the undercover technique. And in 1972, he left. And I'm pretty much right away, I think, the FBI was like, we want to work undercover. And I know, right? Hoover's gone. Let's go. Let's dive in head first. And there's a black and white photo of the first 25 undercovers in the FBI. And it was kind of like from Newark, Philadelphia, New York City, those areas, that Northeast area. And Joe Pistone's in that picture.
Okay. Now, what was the main thing you learned going through this whole undercover academy?
Oh my gosh, there's so much. Because, I'm not going to give away all the stuff at the school, but it's pretty well known that we're huge on sleep deprivation. Because it'll bring out some weaknesses. And so let's just picture, if you just picture going to class during the day, you're getting people like Pistone speaking to you, other great undercovers in the FBI, or maybe it's a legal person coming in, and you're learning. Each day you're learning, but all through the evening you're role playing in scenarios, and you are primary undercover. And, some you do okay in, maybe. Some you bomb and you die, and it's all right. Buck up, little camper. It's time to go back. But yeah, it's a 2-week school with no days off. And I learned a lot. I mean, one of the big things I learned was don't bluff. Know your background. Whatever you're saying, it needs to be believable. Whatever your legend is. Hopefully you learned your weaknesses as well. So my skill set, if somebody asks me to go undercover as a doctor, I'm saying no, because I don't know anything about it. I'm not going to Wall Street. That's not my gig. My skill set leads me to violent gangs, domestic terrorist groups, murder for hire, stuff like that.
Well, there's certain rules for undercover agents.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be involved in any acts of violence unless it's self-defense.
Correct.
Were you involved in acts of violence?
Yes.
Okay. Give me an example of the worst situation.
Well, it'd just be a fight. It'd just be a fight where, I'm undercover and something breaks, and now next thing you know, you're in the middle of a fight. So, or maybe you're in a group like the Outlaws Motorcycle Club, and they're beating somebody up. Well, they're beating one guy, and there's 4 other dudes standing there that's this person's friend, and now everybody's in a fight. Well, I'm in the fight.
So you jump in.
Yeah, but I have to articulate. I mean, in my head, I need to be able to, it's all about articulation.
Right, but that's not exactly self-defense.
No, not in that one. Not in that one. But in that particular instance where the guy was being beat up, I jumped in and I articulated in my report what I was doing. I looked like I was fighting, but I was actually helping. I was keeping them safe.
Okay.
Like I was picking up the friends and throwing them back. Like if you see the recording, I'm like, back the F up, and I'm tossing this dude, tossing that dude, and then, you know, the one guy that was getting beat the most that started the whole fight, he comes back. He's like a schizophrenic drunk, man. He's like, hey man, I'm sorry. Yeah, you guys are good. I'm sorry. I'll kill you. And I'm like, what? I'm like, are we hugging? Are we fighting? You got me all. And he came back and charged me. So when he charged me, I did just fighting techniques and took him down. But what I did is when I went to choke him out, I like looked and there's blood everywhere, and I kind of did a thing where I picked him up and I'm like, this dude can't even hold his own blood. So I'm articulating in my report that I was actually helping.